Have you ever wondered what would happen if the Earth suddenly stopped spinning? Right now, the ground beneath your feet feels rock solid and completely still. But that stillness is an illusion. If our planet ever truly froze in place, it would set off one of the most violent disasters you can possibly imagine. Today, let's find out exactly what would happen, step by step. Here is the thing we never feel. The Earth is spinning astonishingly fast. At the equator, the ground is racing along at about 1,670 kilometers per hour. That is faster than a passenger jet at full cruising speed. And yet you don't get flung off, and you don't even feel the faintest breeze from it. So why on earth not? And honestly, that spin is just the beginning. At the very same time, the whole planet is racing around the sun at over 100,000 kilometers per hour. So even while you are sitting perfectly still, reading, or relaxing, you are actually one of the fastest moving things you will ever experience. We just have no way to feel any of it. The reason is beautifully simple. Everything is moving along with the Earth. The ground, the buildings, the oceans, the air, and you. Because we are all traveling at exactly the same speed in the same direction, there is nothing to push against, and so there is nothing to feel. It is just like sitting in a plane cruising smoothly at altitude. On that smooth flight, you can pour a coffee and never spill a drop, even though you are hurtling along at 900 kilometers an hour. You only ever feel motion when it changes, when the plane speeds up, slows down, or hits turbulence. Steady motion is completely invisible to us, and the Earth's spin is about as steady as it gets. But here's a twist. Not every part of the planet moves at the same speed. Stand at the equator, and you are whipping around the widest part of the Earth, so you move the fastest. Travel toward the poles, and the circle you trace each day gets smaller and smaller. Stand right on the North Pole, and you would simply turn in place, like a figure on a music box. All of this motion means the Earth, and everything riding on top of it, carries an absolutely enormous amount of momentum. And momentum does not just politely vanish into thin air. That single fact is the key to everything that follows. It is the reason stopping the spin would be so utterly, unbelievably catastrophic. So let's actually run the experiment. Imagine the Earth stops spinning in a single instant, but nobody told the rest of the planet. The solid ground halts at once, while everything resting on top of it keeps moving forward at over 1,600 kilometers an hour. This is where things get truly nightmarish. People, cars, trees, and entire buildings would be torn loose and hurled sideways at the speed of a rifle bullet. Anything that is not bolted deep into solid bedrock would be ripped away and smashed in the very first second. It is almost too violent for the mind to picture. And it would not just be a wild ride. All that motion energy has to go somewhere, and it would turn into heat. The friction of everything grinding and crashing across the surface would be so intense that much of the land would scorch, melt, or even catch fire. The planet would briefly glow. Then comes the air. The atmosphere would keep racing ahead, turning into a supersonic wind that scours the surface completely bare. Imagine a global, never-ending hurricane, many times more powerful than anything ever recorded in history, sweeping across every single continent at the very same moment. And the oceans, all that water still moving at full speed, would surge up into walls of water the size of continents. Tsunamis kilometers high would roll across the land, again and again and again. Within just a few minutes, the familiar surface of the Earth would be scoured completely clean. When the chaos finally settled, the planet would look like an alien world. The only things left standing would be deep bedrock and the roots of the tallest mountains. Every city, every forest, every coastline we know would simply be gone. Thankfully, this version could never actually happen in real life. Okay, that version is pure nightmare fuel. So let's try a gentler one. Imagine the Earth slows down very gradually instead, over many thousands of years. Now there is no flying debris, no fire, and no supersonic wind. But a new and very strange problem would quietly creep in. If the Earth fully stopped turning, a single day would stretch out to match a whole year. One side of the planet would face the sun for 6 straight months, and then slowly rotate away into 6 long months of total darkness. One day and 1 year would become the very same thing. The daylight side would bake under 6 months of relentless sun, hot enough to dry out the lakes and crack open the ground. Meanwhile, the night side would plunge into a deep, frozen darkness, cold enough to freeze parts of the air itself. One single planet, split into a scorched desert and a world of ice. And our familiar seasons would lose all of their meaning. Today, the seasons come from the gentle tilt of the Earth as it orbits the sun, not from its spin at all, but on a world baking on one side and frozen on the other for half a year at a time. The soft rhythm of spring, summer, autumn, and winter would simply disappear. But strangely, there might be one place left to live. Right on the line between the two halves, there would be a thin ribbon of permanent twilight, a never-ending sunrise. Caught between the burning day and the frozen night, that narrow band might be the only comfortable place on the whole planet. Now here is the part that almost nobody expects, and it comes down to the true shape of the Earth. Our planet is not actually a perfect sphere. Because it spins so fast, it bulges outward all around the equator, a little like a ball of pizza dough spun in the air. This bulge is bigger than you might think. The Earth is about 42 kilometers wider measured across the equator than it is from pole to pole. In fact, because of that bulge, the point on Earth that sticks out farthest from the center is not Mount Everest at all, but a volcano sitting almost right on the equator. The oceans are pulled into that bulge too, piling up around the middle of the planet. But take the spin away, and the bulge has no reason at all to exist anymore. The water would slowly drain away from the equator and pile up toward the 2 poles instead. The result would be a planet you would barely even recognize. A giant ring of brand new dry land would wrap all the way around the equator, with 2 enormous oceans capping the far north and the far south. Every map, every coastline, and every border would be completely redrawn. Coastal cities that today sit at the water's edge could suddenly find themselves stranded thousands of kilometers inland, high and dry. Meanwhile, other places would vanish beneath the new polar seas. In one single stroke, the entire geography of human civilization would have to start again from scratch. But the deepest danger of all is hidden thousands of kilometers beneath your feet, down in the Earth's core. Far below the surface, an entire ocean of molten iron is constantly churning, swirling, and flowing under unimaginable heat and pressure. That moving metal works like a giant natural dynamo, and it generates the Earth's magnetic field. This is an invisible shield that wraps all the way around our entire planet and stretches tens of thousands of kilometers out into space. This shield is one of the main reasons that life can exist here at all. It deflects the solar wind, a constant stream of high-energy particles blasted out by the sun, which would otherwise strip our atmosphere away and bathe the surface in deadly radiation. And you can actually see this shield doing its job. The northern and southern lights, those glowing curtains of green and purple, are created when particles from the sun slam into our magnetic field and get funneled down toward the poles. Every aurora is really the shield catching a punch for us. That same shield also traps dangerous particles in giant donut-shaped zones high above our heads, called the radiation belts. They are one of the biggest hazards that astronauts have to carefully plan around. Weaken the shield, and that protective buffer between us and deep space would slowly begin to break down. Scientists believe the Earth's rotation helps keep that churning core organized and powerful. Slow the spin down dramatically, and over a very long time the magnetic shield could weaken, leaving the surface far more exposed to whatever the sun decides to throw at us next. And we even have a warning sign sitting right next door. Mars very likely had a magnetic field of its own long ago, but it slowly faded away. Without that shield, the solar wind gradually stripped off most of its atmosphere, leaving the cold, dry, lifeless desert that we see there today. Venus tells a different version of the same story. It spins so incredibly slowly that a single day there actually lasts longer than its entire year. With almost no spin to help drive a magnetic field and a crushing, toxic atmosphere, Venus is a powerful reminder of just how lucky our spinning, shielded planet really is. Now, take a deep breath, because here comes the genuinely good news. The Earth is absolutely not about to slam to a halt. It will not freeze in place tonight, or tomorrow, or in your lifetime, or even in your great-great-great-grandchildren's lifetimes. It is slowing down, but incredibly gently, and it is actually the moon that is doing it. The moon's gravity tugs on our oceans and raises the tides, and that gentle, endless pull acts like a feather-light brake, very slowly bleeding away the Earth's spin. And we have real, physical proof that this is happening. Billions of years ago, a day on Earth lasted only about 6 hours. Back in the age of the dinosaurs, it was closer to 23. We can even read this in ancient coral fossils, which recorded more days squeezed into each ancient year. And there is a beautiful twist to all of this. As the moon slows our spin down, it is also very slowly drifting away from us by about 3.8 centimeters every single year. The Earth and the moon have been locked together in this gentle, billion-year dance since long before life ever began. But the break really is featherlight. Today, the day is getting longer by only about 1.7 thousandths of a second every single century. The Earth will not come anywhere close to stopping for billions of years, long after the sun itself has changed forever. So the next time the ground feels boringly, perfectly still, remember the truth. You are racing through space at over 1,600 kilometers an hour, carried by a planet that has been spinning faithfully for 4.5 billion years. Maybe give it a quiet little thank you. And now, before you go, let's see how much of this actually stuck. Here's one quick question. Quiz 1. How fast does Earth's surface spin at the equator? 1. About 170 kilometers per hour. 2. About 1,670 kilometers per hour. Or 3. About 16,700 kilometers per hour. The answer is 2. About 1,670 kilometers per hour, faster than a passenger jet. We just don't feel it, because everything moves along with us. And that brings us to the end of today's explanation. So, do you feel like you understand our restless, spinning planet a little better now? When you really stop to think about it, the Earth is a genuinely strange and wonderful place. Would you want to live through a single day that lasts an entire year? Personally, I am quite happy with our cozy 24 hours. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you found this video interesting, or you learned something new today, please consider subscribing. So, until next time, I will see you in another world.